Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video I will make basically like a pre or a draft analysis video of the squad that I picked, because I want to play draft leagues again. I didn't really play draft actively for at least 6 months now, because it got, for lack of a better term, quote unquote boring. Simply because I just like picked the same Pokemon over and over and over again, and I played like the same sets over and over and over and over again. So yeah, I just like took a break and now I'm back. And yeah, I'm a coach for the ODL, or the Oregon Draft League, and we have 12 coaches in total. This is Wi-Fi draft league, which I thought was pretty interesting, because the last time I played a singles draft league was back in like 2019 with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, when I just started playing draft leagues and competitive Pokemon in general. I like almost only play draft, so yeah. And yeah, we had 12 coaches in total, and the draft was a slow draft and a snake draft, which basically means we have the same draft order for round 1, for example, and then we will just turn it around and have it, and yeah, that repeats itself until the draft is complete. We had 120 points in total for the draft, and we had to pick 10 to 12 Pokemon. Spoiler alert, as you maybe already like can guess from this graphic that you'll see, I didn't pick 12 Pokemon, I picked 11 Pokemon. And yeah, one important thing I should also mention is we have Terra Captains. We can have up to 3 Terra Captains, but there are some restrictions to that. For example, a Terra Captain may not cost more than 9 points. So like Pokemon that cost 10 points or more in the regular draft cannot be Terra Captains. And there are also some exceptions to Pokemon which cost 9 points or less. For example, Porygon 2, which would cost 8 points, cannot be a Terra Captain. Also, we have 15 points in total for the Terra Captains, and so yeah. My naming theme will be, I thought about that, and most likely it will be some kind of mix between like some friends of mine, and because I fell down that rabbit hole like really deep over the last few months. Most likely some VTubers I watch, or which are fitting to the individual Pokemon. So yeah, the draft order. I was 6th in round 1, which means I was also 6th, 5th or 7th in the even numbers of rounds. So yeah, when this draft started, I had like basically zero idea, or no idea at all what I wanted to pick. I had some ideas, or like I saw Pokemon which I would have liked to use. But like for example Great Tusk, I really wanted to try out Great Tusk at some point in a draft league, but I didn't chose Great Tusk. Spoiler alert. And I will now show you which Pokemon I picked first, and that is Necrozma. Necrozma is a really solid pick in my opinion. And if you know me, you know that I really love my bulky psychic types like Yuxi, like Cresselia, or even like here Necrozma. And I chose it because 15 points is not too expensive in my opinion for Necrozma. It has a really amazing ability with Prism Armor, so it's even bulkier than it already is, with its really good base stats. The speed stat of 79 is also alright. It's good mid-tier speed, I'd say. It basically didn't lose like any moves at all, I think. Like it still has knockoff, it still has recovery in Moonlight or Morning Sun, it still has screens if I ever choose to play screens. It has Stealth Rock still, which is really great because there are not that many hazard removal. There is not that many hazard removal because like basically 90% of all Pokemon lost the fog. There are a few more rapid spinners, but yeah, that's fine. Especially because we have an item clause, which means we can only like play an item once per team, so that like for example my opponent only can use like heavy duty boots once, which makes hazards like even better and even more important in my opinion. But it also like still has Dragon Dance, it has Core Mind. I can like play some shenanigans with that in Store Power, for example, especially with like weakness policy, for example, because with Prism Armor I'm almost like ensured that I live a super effective move, most likely. I don't want to say like for sure because you never know. I will see that like with damage calcs. So yeah, that's Necrozma. It's also nice. Necrozma is also nice because I can choose, especially because it has also Dragon Dance. I can choose if I want to play it like physically offensive or specially offensive, which is also great because it gives me more options, and I can like and to have more options is always nice, I think. Next pick, I really struggled with that because I couldn't choose. At first I really wanted to have Gliscor because Gliscor is amazing in Gen 9. It is a status absorber because like basically no Pokemon or almost no Pokemon has Heal Bell. I think there are not even 5 Pokemon in the game that have Heal Bell, and Aromatherapy doesn't exist at all. So to have a Pokemon which can like absorb status, because let's be honest, Gliscor like has the Toxic Orb by default, or uses the Toxic Orb by default, so it can absorb Will-O-Wisp, Toxic, all that stuff. But I didn't went for that because there was another Pokemon free which I never really used before. I used it in like 2 or 3 games so far in draft, because I was a replacement coach, and I just like took over the squad of the coach. So I don't really have that much experience with it, and I really want to use it. And I really wanted to use it, so I went for Tornadus Therian. Unfortunately, which you will hear me say a lot, it lost the fork in Gen 9. Unfortunate, but it's fine. It has Regenerator, which is really good and important because it doesn't have defork. It doesn't have like Roost, for example. It's really fast with 121 speed, which was important to me because my teams or squads tend to be slower. Because I always prefer like bulky offensive mons, I'd say. Because I like it when my mons can tank things and not just like die from one attack. Breaker are important, don't get me wrong, and I have picked some, but bulk is also really important for me. And Tornadus T has like pretty alright bulk. I'd say 110 base special attack is nothing to sneeze at. It has a really good damage output. It has great utility moves like knock off, tailwind, taunt, U-turn. Because momentum is always really good to have, and I really like focused on having as much momentum as possible, especially after I picked Tornadus Therian, because that like enables Tornadus Therian even more. It enables Necrozma, for example, which doesn't have momentum on its own, and other breakers, for example. So, and I also one of my weaknesses in draft is I also tend to like don't really draft that much momentum, to be honest, usually. So, and I almost always regret it, and it almost always like it sucks often that I don't have like utility momentum, or just like, for example, one U-turn user in a team, which doesn't like, that is not enough. So yeah, I went for Tornadus. Speed is great. 17 points is alright. For example, it's not that expensive like Dragapult, which is overrated in my opinion anyway, but alright, I guess. And now I'm just like waiting to be destroyed by Dragapult in this league, but we will see. So yeah, that's Tornadus Therian. I don't know at this. I will name it Girahim after my good friend Girahim, which who taught me a lot about draft leagues when I first started, and I'm really good friends with him. So yeah, that's why I name it. I will name it Girahim. Next up, there was one Pokemon I really wanted to have, and I know I said at the beginning that I got bored, quote unquote, of draft leagues because I picked the same Pokemon over and over and over again, and now I spoiled it. My third pick was a Pokemon which is probably one of the 3 or 5 Pokemon which I drafted the most, but I really wanted to have it, and that's Sylveon. Now Sylveon is really great pick. What are the weaknesses of Sylveon? It lost, unfortunately, a few key moves. It lost Heal Bell, which is huge. and unfortunate, and it lost Mystical Fire, so Steel types are an issue for Sylveon now. It doesn't really have the ability to break through them. Steel types like Bronzong are still a bit scared of Sylveon because I can always play Shadow Ball. But other Steel types aren't, which is not that great. But it has momentum on its own with Baton Pass. I don't really know if I'm even allowed to play Baton Pass at this point, even if it's dry passing. To be honest, it has screens still. It has Wish, which is always good because we love our cleric fairy types over here. We really do. It has like Pixelate, which is really great. Maybe Q-Charm could. Q-Charm is really niche, but maybe you never know. Maybe it could be useful in some matchups. Thanks to Pixelate, it has Fairy Priority in Quick Attack. I have like really funny and interesting ideas in terms of sets, which I really want to play. 12 points it's fine. It's not too expensive. It has Yawn also, which can be annoying. It has a really good special bulk, so I can almost always evade more towards defensive bulk in most matchups. So yeah, that's Sylveon. It's like a standard Pokemon for me at this point, and shoutouts to the person I sniped with it. I saw your video and I got like a little bit smug, like a little smug smile because no one gets my cute little Sylveon besides me, and it's the Pokemon that always performs. It's a solid Pokemon, and yeah, why not Sylveon? My fourth pick. I went through the tier list, and there was one Pokemon I thought, interesting. I never used it before. I mostly hate to play against it because it's annoying and it can stall the fuck out of you. So I thought, why not pick it myself this time? So I went for Salazzle, which gives me a poison type and a fire type, which is really good because it has like 4 times resistance against Fairy, which is always good because Fairy is probably one of the best types in the game. Corrosion is an amazing ability. I can poison everything, and as I already mentioned, like basically there's basically no heal bell or aromatherapy anymore. I don't think anyone has even picked Pokemon with heal bell. I have to check it, but I'm pretty certain no one does. So I can maybe like do some toxic shenanigans with it, maybe. But it's also pretty fast with 117 base speed. The special attack is pretty solid. Not pretty solid. I'm sorry. Knock off, taunt, toxic spikes, will-o-wisp are really good. Support / utility moves. So yeah, the hidden ability Oblivious is like not even niche in my opinion. Why play that when you have Corrosion? Corrosion is far superior in my opinion. So yeah, I went for that. Next pick. As I already mentioned, I decided against Gliscor, so I was looking for a ground type because a ground type is always important. It blocks Volt Switch, which can be really annoying. Ground type like often has stealth rock, which are also important. Ground is in general a really good typing. So I went through the tier list and I was looking for ground type, and then I saw one. And after checking the move pool, I saw, this Pokemon got Stealth Rock in Gen 9. And if you know me, you probably know there are Pokemon of two types which always have to be able to use Stealth Rock or hazards in general, which are ground types and steel types. So that was really important, and it was Flygon. 9 points is, it's not too cheap, unfortunately, maybe, but it's not too cheap, not too expensive. It has a pretty solid move pool, in my opinion, and it has a pretty good solid move pool, especially and physically. Unfortunately, again, it lost the fog, which is unfortunate, but I will have to work with that. Again, it finally has Stealth Rock, and it has U-Turn again, which is also a pretty big plus because it gives me momentum. And as I already mentioned, momentum is important. Kids learn from it, and momentum is always important. So yeah, I chose Flygon. 100 base speed is also, in my opinion, a pretty important speed tier to have. So yeah, it has also like, I think it already got it in Gen 8, but it got first impression, so it also has like a momentum move, a strong momentum move, in fact. So yeah, why not Flygon? I never used Flygon before, so I'm pretty curious, and I hope I hope that it will do a good job. I don't expect it to like be kill leader or something like that, but I'm fine if it gets like 5 kills at least, or even if it just like be a good like bulky, maybe even defensive ground type for me. That's also perfectly fine. I hope it will perform. Next up, and this will, spoiler alert, be my first Terra Captain, which I chose. I needed the fog. Or Rapid Spin. Or any... Yeah, or Rapid Spin. Like, basically any hazard move at all. And so I looked through Showdown, which Pokemon still have hazard removal. And there were like a few interesting Pokemon, like for example T-Serena, which is always great to have because it's always a really pretty solid Pokemon in my opinion. But yeah, I don't know. I used it a lot in the past, and so maybe another time. So I chose another type. I picked the Fog user, and since I already have a flying type, I didn't really want to pick another flying type at this point, at least. So I chose a fighting type for that, and that's Gurdurr. Why Gurdurr and not Conkeldurr, for example? First of all, Gurdurr is way cheaper. I think Conkeldurr would cost 12 points and Gurdurr costs only measly 5. So that point, that aspect, Gurdurr is better defensively especially with Eviolite. It tanks more than you would think, especially or even on the special side. It can function as some sort of status absorb, or I hope that because Gurdurr has guts, or can have guts, my opponent would be like more hesitant to click, for example, Will-O-Wisp or Toxic against me, because it can always trigger Guts from Girder. But that's not all. It has Sheer Force, which is fine, but let's be honest, it's not really a good ability for fighting types, because there are not that many fighting steps which can abuse Sheer Force, or if there even some. So yeah, that's alright. It can boost its coverage, but yeah. But it is also Iron Fist, and Iron Fist is really good on Girder, because it has Drain Punch, and on a bulky fighting type which is pretty slow, that this bit of recovery from Drain Punch can matter a lot. So yeah, it also boosts Mach Punch, which can also be important. But yeah, it has the Fog, it has again Knock Off, Taunt, which can also be nice. 105 base attack is also, it's fine. It's alright. Yeah. So yeah, that's Girder. I think maybe it's even a bit too cheap. I don't know. I will see how it will perform. But Girder never really disappointed me in the past when I used it. It was always pretty solid. I mean, this thing has the same base attack as, like, for example, Hitmonchan. So yeah, I hope it will perform. I'm a big Girder fan. Next up, and I'm at this point in the draft, I was still missing a few key typings. Like, for example, Ghost, Normal, Dark, Electric, Water, Steel, no? All those typings. So yeah, I was looking through the tier list again, because I didn't really have a plan, still a plan at this point. So I was like picking like one Pokemon. Okay, I was at this point still like picking Pokemon which I found interesting, and I was like, let's see how it will turn out. I can use the grace period if need be. So yeah. The next Pokemon I picked was interesting, because like the other day I was in a call with another friend of mine, who is called Daniel Delta VGC. And I was building with him like a team for VGC, because why not? I just wanted to build one. So and we used the next Pokemon I picked in the team, and I thought, why not give it a shot in singles? Let's see. And I will also call it. I will also name it after Daniel. So yeah, I chose Brute Bonnet. Now hear me out. Brute Bonnet, I don't really have that high expectations in this Pokemon, because 8 points is fine, but the 4 times weakness against Bug is always annoying, because U-turn is one of the best moves in the game still. It doesn't have like the best stab options, because like it's a physical attacker, and the two best. Oh, I completely forgot. Yeah, Girder is my first Terra Captain, and I chose Fighting, Water, and Steel, as you already see on this graphic, because of the defensive abilities. And Water and Steel are really good defensive typings, and Steel, for example, resists all the weaknesses which Girder usually has. So I picked those two typings. And Brute Bonnet is my second Terra Captain, which you already see. And I chose Grass as a stab typing, Fire and Water, because that's interesting. I was just asking around my friends and was like, hey, what Terra types would you give that Pokemon? And they recommended me those 3, so I was like, why not? If I even Terra it at all, we'll just see. But yeah, where was I before that tangent? Yeah, Brutbonet. It is a physical attacker which with and its best stab options are like Seed Bomb and Crunch with 80 base power, so not that great. But we will see. It's bulky at least. 55 is not the best speed stat, but it's fine. I hope I can like do some fun shenanigans with photosynthesis at some point. That it shines. But it also has. Unfortunately, it doesn't have knockoff, which is always unfortunate, especially for dark types, because knockoff is one of the best moves in the game, and not having knockoff is unfortunate. So yeah, we will just see. I don't really have that high expectations for it, but maybe it will surprise me and will be pretty good or at least solid. So we'll just see. And if it doesn't perform at all, I can drop it and add up and pick up another grass type or dark type more likely, because dark is more important in my opinion than a dark type is more important in my opinion than a grass type, simply because of that psychic immunity, and grass is not the best type defensively in the first place. So yeah, we will just see. I like Brutbonet overall. I know I said I don't have really that high expectations. Sorry, but we will see. Yeah. So then, I wanted to have a normal type next, and unfortunately, my favorite Pokemon of all time, Dunsparce, got picked in the 3rd round. What the fuck? Which maniac came to the idea of picking Dunsparce of all Pokemon in round 3? So yeah, no Dunsparce for me, which is fine because I found a maybe even better normal type. And that is my 3rd and last Terra captain also, Komala. Komala is like basically free for only 2 points. Way too cheap in my opinion, but yeah. It has Rapid Spin, which is huge because now I can choose between bringing Gerda with the Fog or bringing Komala with Rapid Spin in a match. It gives me another U-turn user, so more momentum, slow momentum at that, with its 65 base speed. Knockoff is always good, again, to have. Rapid Spin, as I already mentioned. It has Wish, so I have a second Wish user, if need be. If, for example, Sylveon doesn't really fit on a team in a certain matchup, I don't know. So, yeah. Komala has really good special bulk. So, I hope it will perform. It usually performs pretty good when I pick it. So yeah, let's just see. It has the Terra types normal as its stab, Ghost and Fairy. Ghost and Fairy because it loses its fighting weakness, for example. And Ghost is also important because of another fact, which you will see at the end of this. Why Ghost was an important Terra type for me to have. Outside of its like solid defensive capabilities. Fairy is also a really good defensive typing, or maybe offense with play rough stuff. I don't know. We'll just see. So yeah, that's Komala. Next up, I at this point, like, I got like some plan. I was able to like gather or manage to like, or how do I say this in English? Sorry, as you already maybe know, English is not my first language, so yeah. Gather, I think, for lack of a better term, slowly a plan or build a plan in my head for my team, and I was still missing some key types: water, steel, ghost, electric. Yeah? And so I was looking through the tier list and I saw, this Pokemon wasn't picked yet. So I picked it, and it's Empoleon. Empoleon unfortunately lost the fog, but in my opinion it still got better in Gen 9 because it finally has competitive edit ability instead of Defiant, which it, in my opinion, should have had like from the beginning, because Defiant, it's a special attacker, and Defiant is not really, it doesn't really make that much sense on a special attacker. So before that you most likely played Torrent edit ability. Now you have competitive edit as a good option. It got 2 new toys which are really good: Flip Turn and Roost. So it gives me again momentum. With 60 base again, more slow momentum. Water Steel is an amazing defensive typing. Its bulk is pretty solid, or even pretty good. It has knockoff. It still has stealth rock, so I don't really know how many stealth rock users I have so far. I think 3: Necrozma, Flygon, and Empoleon now. So yeah, 13 points is pretty reasonable for Empoleon. So yeah, I'm excited for it. I hope it will perform again. So yeah, next up, at first I wanted to grab either a ghost type or an electric type, because those are 2 types which I still don't have in the squad. But then I looked through I looked through my team or my squad so far, and I noticed something, and I don't know if you all already noticed it too, but it's more specially offensive than physically offensive. So I thought, maybe I'll pick like an electric or a ghost type later, and I pick a good physical breaker first. And so I picked Lycanroc Dusk. Lycanroc Dusk is pretty one-dimensional, I'd say, because it clicks Stone Edge or some other coverage move or something like that, and it does damage. More is, it doesn't really have any other roles. Like it can't. Maybe you can like play Stealth Rock. Maybe in some matchups on it, I don't know. But it mainly is supposed to deal damage, and with all that momentum that I already have, I hope it can deal that damage, and it can really perform. It's one-dimensional, but in my experience, it always does the role it has really good, or at least solid. Maybe it can be a bit matchup dependent, but yeah, that's Lycanroc Dusk. 110 base speed is also pretty good. Tough Claws is an amazing ability. So yeah, we will see how it will perform. Next up, there I had two ideas in mind. The first one, which I didn't choose, was I was asking Girahim at this point, and was like, hey, how about I pick Rotom Heat and Dusknoir as my last two options, which would fill my team out to 12 Pokemon. And he was like, I don't know, because like you can only play like heavy duty boots once per team, so like Rotom Heat one usually wants to wear boots, but also Tornadus wants to wear them. So I was like, maybe you're right. So I went for the second option, and I thought, fuck it, I will try to play without a ghost type, funnily enough, because I think I have enough, like, for example, fighting resistances. I mean, to be honest, to be fair, I also have like a few annoying fighting weaknesses. So yeah, but I thought fuck it, and I chose my last Pokemon, Rotom Wash. Now, why did I pick that? Its speed stat of 86 is really important for me because it fills the speed gap which annoyed me between Necrozma and with 79 base speed and Flygon with 100 base. So yeah, it's bulky. Electric Water is again an amazing defensive typing. It doesn't share weakness with Empoleon, which is also really good. Thanks to Levitate, it only has a grass weakness, which, yeah, okay, I guess I have enough switch-ins. I have Salazzle, I have Tornadus, I have Brute Bonnet, which I can always switch into grass mons or grass coverage. So that's not an issue. Yeah, I don't really have that much experience with Rotom Wash, so I hope it can surprise me and it will perform. I only had it once in a draft league, and it was like meh at best, so we'll just see. I can always switch it out with another electric type or ghost type, or I don't know. So yeah, it has good utility moves or support moves even, with Pain Split, Trick, Volt Switch and Will-O-Wisp, so momentum again. Will-O-Wisp is also always nice. Pain Split gives it some form of recovery. So yeah, Trick can always cripple, like, for example, defensive walls with Choice Scarf or something like that. Or can like cripple offensive mons. For example, I can trick for example a Pokemon with Choice Scarf. I can trick it with, like, for example, a Citrus Berry or something like that. So yeah, that's my squad. I'm planning on uploading my matches. If the technology will work. I haven't tested everything yet, so I can't promise anything, but that's the plan. I'm also trying to upload team building videos. Nothing special or anything, just like, hey, that's my team, and discuss why I play certain ones. So yeah, that's my team. I hope you liked that video. If so, then maybe leave a like, subscribe, comment down below. I don't know. And yeah, I will see you in the next video. Bye.